What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From the Bench. It feels like I haven't done this in forever. I'm so sorry to everybody as I missed all of last week. I hated doing it. I was incredibly ill, so I also have this bottle of water. If I cough or need a second, I'll try to do it away from the mic. Incredibly ill all of last week. I wanted to try and bump one out to you guys, but I was stuck between getting an episode out, but also making a good episode. And I literally couldn't talk last week without coughing. I was very sick, like I said. Finally was able to start talking and moving and feeling feeling a little better as of Saturday. I had a fever for 4 days last week, so finally shook that too. And we're finally getting better. We've got a big episode today. First, this past week, while I was sick, I got into the University of Tennessee, so very proud of that, very happy for that. It's a big dream of mine. Obviously, you guys don't struggle to know that I'm a UT fan. I plan to major in communications in the fall with a concentration on sports communications. Again, if you've been here since the beginning, you guys know the first episode where I broke it down. God, I've been doing this for almost 3 months now, 2 months, which is a lot longer than it feels like. I love it. I hated that I had to miss it this last week. But as I said in the first episode, this is kind of a building block for me as I'm trying to pursue my dream in sports media. So I'm one step closer to that now as I get into UT, and hopefully it just makes my job a lot easier of trying to cover Tennessee sports and get into that field as I get into college. But again, like I said, missing last week we played Vanderbilt. Obviously, we won. Basketball, very slow week. Only played one game and ran a bad team out. So we're not going to talk about that game. But Vanderbilt, I'm not going to talk about it at all. My short little note, like literally a couple sentence notes, is I thought it was Nico's best game by far. His one interception, which again, this was a while ago, but his one interception, everybody thinks that's a bad throw. I think it's more of a bad decision than it's a bad throw. The only person alive making that throw is probably Josh Allen. Rolling to your right and throwing across the field to the other side of the hash, 50 yards on the field, that's more of a bad decision, thinking you have the ability to make that throw than a bad throw. Either way, it was a pick. But other than that, he finally looked natural, in my opinion. And I hope that we can carry that into the playoffs. Obviously, we pulled Ohio State, and we'll talk more about that later. But he looked natural, he looked calm, and he looked like he was reading the offense and not telegraphing, which is huge because we're going to need that. Ohio State's got a good secondary. Caleb Downs is in contention for one of the best secondary players in the country. Well, I don't know what that award's called, but it's him, Travis Hunter, and Travis Hunter's not even in it. That's crazy, actually. Him, Malachi Starks at Georgia, and somebody else. Oh, Jadae Barron at Texas. So they've got players. They've got NFL players all over the place, as Ohio State always does. Vanderbilt, good game. Obviously, an ugly start, but I thought it was Nico's best game. That's all I'm going to say about it because, again, it was so long and everyone's dang near forgot about that game. But, I said a lot there. It wasn't much of an introduction, but, again, before I start talking about what we are having on agenda today, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, like this video, and comment what you think about the playoff seeding. And if you think the seeding's correct, obviously we're gonna talk a little bit about the SMU and Bama drama and stuff like that. And we're also going to talk about another team that I don't think has a near enough drama around their name, and that's Texas. But again, like I said, we'll get into that later. Just a lot going on in the college football world right now as the first 12-team playoff just got announced. The Vols are headed to Columbus, to the Horseshoe, to play Ohio State, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's definitely the best first part of games. It's definitely better than SMU and Penn State and Indiana and Notre Dame and Clemson and Texas. It's definitely the best one, and it's the two biggest names for sure. 8 p.m. kickoff on ABC. It's going to be rowdy. December 21st, mark your calendars. I mean, we're having to wait a while for it because we didn't play this past week. We're not going to play this week, but then we head to Ohio State. I'm obviously not going to break it down all right now because we're going to have quite a few episodes before it, but I think we match up good. They've got playmakers, obviously. Again, it's Ohio State. But I think it's all going to be on the defense. And I've seen Tennessee have good things in all sports. Like, something be good, and when it matters most, they just don't show up. Kind of like our defense against Georgia. And the defensive line that's been so good got no pressure on Carson Beck all night. You're going to have to get pressure on Will Howard. That's the way you're going to beat them. Their line has not been very good this year. That's definitely the worst part of their team. You got to be able to get at Will Howard, and when he's under pressure and force him to make some bad throws and get him down back there in the backfield. That's what, Michigan, I don't know if Michigan even had a sack, but they were forcing him into bad decisions, rushing him and pressuring him the whole game. Another thing, kind of like Michigan, is you got to run the ball. Michigan threw for 60 yards or 40 yards or something and won the game. They could not stop the run. Dylan Sampson's going to have to get started early, and I think he will. I think Josh Heupel will make a point to get him involved early, as we always do. This week while we were gone, Dylan Sampson was awarded the SEC Player of the Year. So we're definitely going to get the SEC Player of the Year involved early. I think it should be a good game. Some more drama around the college football playoffs. Obviously, the SMU and Bama. Me personally, and I really do want you guys to comment, please do, because I want to hear what other people have to say. Obviously, it's all over social media, but I think the committee made the right call. And that's not me as a Bama hater. Do I think Bama maybe could make a better chance at the national championship than SMU? Probably. But Alabama's so hit or miss. They beat Georgia, and then they lose 24-3 to Oklahoma. Teams have off games and things of that nature, but, and it's like I was talking to one of my buddies today. You can't say it was us, or even like A&M, LSU, like any other team that wasn't Alabama. If you even give us those good wins, like if you just replace the logos and you lose like that to Vanderbilt and lose that badly to Oklahoma, no other team is even in contention to be talked about over Alabama. There was no way they were going to put them in my opinion. Especially the committee straight up said we're not penalizing teams for losing in the conference championship. You can't. Like, Alabama wasn't good enough to get to their conference. Now, is the ACC as good as the SEC? Not even close. But, SMU they did what they had to do, and they came up short and lost to a 56-yard field goal in the end. And, they didn't win, but you can't penalize them and kick them out for that after a one-loss season. What I will say, like I said about Texas, everybody's like, SMU schedule this, SMU schedule that. SMU's best win is a 9-3 Duke, who's going to a solid bowl. I don't think people were like, Texas's best win is 8-4 Texas A&M, and they're the 5 seed. And Texas was up 3 and had to play Georgia's backup quarterback and lost. Like, I'm not impressed by Texas at all. And I was talking to my friends about this, and you guys let me know what you think. I think Arizona State will beat Texas in the second round. Arizona State, people just don't think they're good because they play in the Big 12, and the Big 12's not very good. If you watch Arizona State, they are a good football team. They're good on both sides of the ball. Cam Scatabo is really good. Their quarterback, Sam Levitt, who's a freshman, is a redshirt freshman like Nico, is really good. That's going to be a tough team to run into, and especially as hot as they are. They did lose Jordan Tyson, their best receiver, who has over 1,000 yards. He was incredible this year. He had surgery this past Tuesday, so he's going to be out for the rest of the year. But watch out for Arizona State beating Texas. I'm not sold on Texas, and I'm sold on Arizona State now. Another name, like we just talked about with Texas and Georgia, Carson Beck is likely out for the year with a UCL injury in his throwing elbow. It's probably going to be his last game as a Georgia Bulldog, I'd assume. I don't think he's going to be good in the NFL, but I think he'll get drafted. I don't know how that affects Georgia. I mean, obviously it affects Georgia a lot, but I mean, Georgia's just good. As bad, like, in my opinion, sorry about that. I'm trying. In my opinion, they're kind of like the Chiefs of college football. Like, Georgia can be bad at this, this, and this, and then when it matters most, they become good. I'll never not be sold on Georgia, no matter if I'm back there playing quarterback. I think they're always going to have a chance, and that's just me being honest. Now, is Gunnar Stockton that good? For the first drive, he looked incredible, but other than that, no. He's tough as nails. He got absolutely decleated his last play of the game when he got his helmet knocked off, and then Carson Beck had to go in. But Trevor Etienne's a good back. I mean, their defensive front is the best in the country. They're going to be a tough draw for anybody. They're the second seed, so they're going to play, Notre Dame or Indiana. And Notre Dame is a good football team for those who, again, that's another kind of Arizona State situation where they just think just because they haven't played all the best people and they're not even in a conference that they're not that good. Notre Dame is really good. That defense is really good. That defense is really good, and they're missing their best player in Benjamin Morrison, for those who don't know, who might be a first-round pick at the DB position. But college football, it's all over the place right now. Again, let me know what you guys think about the college football selection. I see a lot of Tennessee fans mad that Ohio State's ahead of us. I don't see it. Ohio State has a better resume than us. I mean, they barely lost to the number one team in the country. They have a bad loss in a rivalry game. We have a bad loss, not in a rivalry game, but they have a bad loss. We have a bad loss. But they have 2 top 10 wins. I mean, they beat Indiana and Penn State. Now, how good is Indiana and Penn State? Penn State's good. I will say that now. But Indiana's not that good, I don't think. But they're top 10, and they're in the playoffs. They have 2 wins over 2 playoff teams, and we don't. We don't have a win over any of them. That in itself puts Ohio State over us. Unfortunate, and do I like, as you guys know, how I feel about Josh Heupel on the road? Do I care for it? Not necessarily, but I'm going to go into it with an open mind. Josh Heupel's rebuilt this Tennessee athletics is on fire. The reigning national champions for baseball, the 7th-ranked team in the country for football, and is going to the first college football 12-team playoff. The basketball team's number 1 in the country. Lady Vols basketball is, I think, 18 or 19 now, coming off of 2 big wins this week. The softball team made it to super regionals. I mean, everything is good at Tennessee right now. It's quite literally ridiculous. But as we transition into the basketball section, as we're talking about athletics, like I said, Vol Hoops is now number 1 in the country, as Kansas went down twice this week to Creighton and Missouri, who SEC is loaded with basketball this year. And then Auburn lost to Duke in a very good game. I still think Auburn's a better basketball team than us. I'm glad we're number 1, I guess. I think it's kind of a curse. We've got ahead. We've got Miami tonight, and then we're going to head, and that's in Madison Square Garden, by the way, which, if you guys remember, 2-3 years ago, when we played at Madison Square Garden against Texas Tech, the Vols could not throw it into the ocean. I think the score was like 44-42 was the final score. It was the ugliest game of basketball of all time. So I'm hoping that that's not the case. Tennessee, March Madness posted something about it today on their Instagram. Chaz Lanier has just been incredible for us this year. He's averaging 18.8 points per game on 48% three-point percentage. That's ridiculous. The kid's been incredible for us. Hopefully he can keep it up this week. Hopefully he can outshoot us out of a slump at Madison Square Garden, because the last one there at MSG for the Vols was not pretty, and I think they lost to Texas Tech. I was talking to my grandparents about it because they ended up going last year, or when we played it against Texas Tech. Hopefully it's not the same result. The basketball team right now, their second biggest test, I'd say, maybe biggest because of location, is at Illinois, coming this Friday at 5:30. Illinois is 6-2. They were ranked last week. I think they lost last week, but they're a good football team, a good basketball team. Will Riley's one of the best freshmen in the country. But our team, man, I mean, they're hard-nosed on the defensive end, and they make plays on offense. Zakai has been playing good all year. And the 1-2 punch of Chaz Lanier and Igor Milicic, I mean, you're almost getting the same, like 20-something out of Lanier on 45% three-point shooting, and then Igor will give you a solid 14 and 9. I mean, and then Zakai does his work. And then in there you got Darlin Stone Dubar, who's coming onto the scene. Jemai Mashak's obviously going to play a lot of meaningful minutes for us. Gainey when he's hot. I mean, you guys saw it against Syracuse, who's supposed to be some sort of a test for us, and we just ran them out of the water. I mean, our team is very good, don't get me wrong. Auburn's much more battle-tested than we are. Auburn's schedule has been ridiculous. Brutal schedules is Alabama. Alabama is playing a gauntlet these last 9 games for them. I mean, they haven't played a team that's not top 30 in the country in a month almost. I mean, it is ridiculous. Not really a month, but you guys get the point. SEC basketball is all over the place right now. I mean, the Vols are number 1 in the country, so there's nothing to complain about. Miami is not that good. I think they're 3-5, 3-4, 4-4, somewhere around there. They're not a very good basketball team. They've lost to Drake, who's a mid-major. They're a solid mid-major, but Miami, who was in the Final Four 2 years ago, shouldn't be losing to Drake. They've got an all-right team. To me, it's a bunch of scorers, and it's not a very well-built team when watching them. They've got a lot of athletes and some talent, but they're not putting it together, which, again, is a lot easier said than done. There's talent all over the country in college basketball. I mean, at every level. JUCO, NAIA, D1, D2, mid-major, Power 5, Power 6, I guess it is. Or I guess it's Power 5 that Pac-12's gone. But, I mean, there is bucket getters all over the place. And in basketball, if you have 1 or 2 of them, you go off, you've got a chance. So, number 1 in the country. Again, nothing to complain about. Tennessee athletics is sky high right now. There's nothing to complain about here. Hopefully the basketball team can get 2 good wins, and the football team will prep for Ohio State this week. It's going to be cold up there December 21st at night. It's going to be around 25 degrees, 30 degrees. Better practice getting in the cold if I'm the Tennessee Volunteers. Josh Heupel said that they practice early in the mornings and they're used to the cold, but I think it might be a little different up there in the north. But, again, thank you guys for watching. Sorry, again, like I said, I hated missing all of last week, but I really couldn't speak. Also, comment what your score predictions. I said comment about the college football stuff, but let me know what your guys' score prediction is for the basketball game tonight at Madison Square Garden. But thank you guys for watching. I hope everybody has a blessed rest of their day, and go Vols.